You probably never heard of Anton Black. Neither had we. My son was George Floyd before George Floyd. It's the kind of incident that occurs all too often, but seldom makes national news. And the officer was doing nothing but standing like this. So as far as you're concerned, he was acting professionally. Yes. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. But something went wrong. And just 15 minutes later, Anton Black was dead. Anton Black is a black teenager. He lost his life in the custody of white police officers. Anton's family was shattered, angry, and highly suspicious, especially because the town council had been warned about the very officer who chased Anton down, who had a troubling past. He called him a monster. Yes. You feel that perhaps you let Anton down? I feel that I let everybody down.
The family of 19-year-old Anton Black, a black male that died in the custody of Maryland Carolina County Police in 2018, has settled part of their federal lawsuit, where they will be receiving $5 million. Black had been diagnosed with severe form of bipolar 2 weeks prior to his death, after his father had called the police concerned that his son had been acting strange at home.
Court alleges Anton Black's death in police custody was discriminatory and unconstitutional. It also alleges the state medical examiner's office conspired with police to cover up the actions by the officers. It's a bittersweet partial victory for family members of 19-year-old Anton Black. They won a $5 million settlement in their federal lawsuit, and 3 Eastern Shore police agencies must overhaul their use of force policies. But family members vow their work is not finished. The medical examiner declared the police custody death accidental, and no one has been charged.
It's a good old boy thing. No charges. They killed him. Not even a misdemeanor charge.
Yeah.
If you do a dog like they did my son, somebody be charged. Somebody be in jail.
Yeah.
These fellas should be under the jail.
Anton died because of the stress of 43 blunt trauma wounds he sustained from his altercation with police officers. In our opinion, sends a very strong message to this community that they refuse to convict white officers who abuse black people.
According to family members, Anton was horsing around with his cousin when someone called 911 to report a possible kidnapping. Anton ran. Police caught up with him. Police body camera footage shows Officer Thomas Webster smashing Anton's car window and using a stun gun on him. He escapes, but he's quickly caught and pinned down by 4 white men, including a civilian.
He trying to get to his mother. Mommy, help me. They're all over him.
According to the federal lawsuit, officers pressed Anton's face, chest, and stomach to the ground for 6 minutes. The first responding officer had been fired from a Delaware police department. He had a history of being physically abusive to an African-American suspect in his custody.
He had big expectations, high hopes. He had big dreams.
The partial settlement requires an overhaul of the use of force policies at 3 Eastern Shore municipalities, enhanced resources for police confronting mental health emergencies, officer training in de-escalation, intervention, and complicit bias, hiring transparency and public complaint reporting.
Some justice is not full justice. There still remains others who need to be held accountable for this tragedy.
The family wants a new autopsy performed and the officers involved held accountable. In Denton.
Okay, Royal, so before I show you the body cam footage, this was a preventable death. If they would have listened to everyone that tried to tell them that this guy was bad news, as they say, that this guy was a monster, that he was a monster, I really believe that this young man would still be living. And the thing is, when you see the body cam footage, you're going to know that he knew that he was dealing with someone that had a mental illness, and he still went and did what he did. And they were on this young man for 6 minutes. They took his breath away from him. And it shows how these departments cover up these behaviors, cover up misconduct. And it goes from the law enforcement to the courts as well to the prosecutors. And in this case, it went all the way to from the prosecutor to the person that did the autopsy. They all wanted to cover this death up, but they award the family $5 million. But you don't see anything that these devils did wrong. It shows you and it tells you exactly what this department stands for, what the prosecutor office represents. They don't give a damn about black people's life. What they give a damn about is covering up for their own. As I told you, that these police officers, they are terrorists. They're domestic terrorists. Their hearts are filled with hate for black and brown skinned people. And they all are on code with one another.
You're not his brother?
No, I am.
He's not my brother, bro.
Body camera video shows the beginning of Anton Black's encounter with police in Greensboro, Maryland on September 15th. An officer stopped Black, responding to a call that he'd abducted a 12-year-old boy who was with him, saying he saw him drag the boy down the road. A child later turned out to be a family friend. Black ran when the officer tried to place him under arrest. He headed to his family's home and hid inside a car. Officer Thomas Webster IV breaks the car's windows and tases Black with no effect.
I'm tasing him. Taser, taser, taser.
At this point, several officers and a bystander try to restrain the teen. One officer lays on top of him.
Got one cuff? Hey, hold on.
Black's mother watches from the door. Some of her son's final words were to her, "I love you."
I love you. Please. Please.
Less than 2 minutes later, the teen appears to stop moving.
Come on, buddy.
For the next 28 minutes, police and paramedics administer CPR.
Oh, where's that ambulance?
The medical examiner ruled the death an accident, sudden cardiac death due to a heart problem. According to the autopsy, it is likely that the stress of his struggle contributed to his death, along with mental illness.
This is a mental health emergency. We're not treating this like a crime.
The state's attorney in Caroline County said it would be unethical to present the case to a grand jury because there's not probable cause for an indictment against the officers. Black's family issued a statement noting almost 50 wounds on the teen's body and said the force used was excessive. They called on the Department of Justice to investigate.
Thank you, man. Very sorry. There was just...
There were no narcotics found in the teen system. It took the family 115 days to receive that autopsy, and both they and the ACLU say that was far too long.